Hi, this is Mike Anderson, your Government Affairs Chair for the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. I'm here with Roy Deloach, our Chief Executive Officer, at the mid-year meeting. And I'm going to turn this over to Roy. We're getting your emails, by the way. We know what happened at 5:30 this morning, but I'm going to kind of turn it over to Roy to let you know that don't panic yet. So, Roy, why don't you kind of give him a little update?
Sure. You are still in business. Your business model, the mortgage broker business model, is still a viable business model. And so let me go through a couple of the big wins. I mean, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of press reports and a lot of other trade groups that are getting this wrong. On the appraisal area, there is the HVCC there's a sunset provision in there that kicks in. So that was a victory for us. The other piece of that was there was a big battle that we had over portability of appraisals and the broker's ability to get involved and order that appraisal. So the way it ended up is we were trying to require the regulators to come out with a regulation, but basically it came down to the word shall versus may. At the end of the day, the regulator may come out with a regulation on portability of appraisals and broker ordering of those appraisals. So that's what we were able to get in with your help and responding to our calls to action. The other area that you've heard a lot about, and we're trying to find some kind of flexibility, and to be quite honest, this thing happened at 5:30 in the morning. There's still a lot of technical changes that are being added. This is the area of being paid. The broker is able to get paid either all up front by the consumer or all inside the rate. And so that was one area we're trying to establish some flexibility, either in statute or they give that flexibility to the regulator. We still think that that's a technical change that could come in between now and when this bill goes to the House and Senate floors next Tuesday. So we're gonna wait. You have to wait to let the lawyers on Capitol Hill put these bills together, and we actually read the language over the weekend, and we'll be coming out with our decision on whether we support the bill or not. But there's a lot of things in there that are still harmful, we think, to consumers and the marketplace. So that was the other area that there has been a lot of focus on is this 3% safe harbor. Well, everybody, some people call it a cap. It's not really the word. The cap words aren't in there. It's a safe harbor. There is a worry about what goes into that 3%, and that was basically the assumption of a consumer's ability to repay. There's a long list of things. One of those pieces was a 3%. You could assume a consumer has the ability to repay that loan if your fees and costs don't exceed 3%. There was a lot of wrangling over that in terms of hurt to the small loan amounts to low and moderate income individuals. And sure enough, that was heard by the legislators, and a provision was placed in to make exceptions for low amount loans. And there's not a particular number in there, but it basically says the regulator may come up with exceptions to that provision. The most important thing that was accomplished in there, that it added a provision that gives the regulator the ability to add to or take away any of these provisions in the consumer's ability to repay section if it helps the consumer, or if there were consumer or unintended consequences. So that's a very important piece that was accomplished, that we were able to get in there, because we do believe you're going to show there's a lot of harm to consumers with this provision. So we're very not happy with the way this came out, but we're at least able to make some dents in where we know it's going to be a huge problem for consumers and for mortgage brokers.
And that's kind of it in a nutshell, guys. Like Roy said, we're going to digest it. Roy will look over the weekend. We may come out with a call to action. Just watch your emails. If there is a call to action, it's going to be very important that you act immediately. Would you say?
That's right. This is one of those things where there are already groups lining up against this bill. The credit unions came out in a staunch opposition to it already, and I think that's a huge number of individuals that can call into the Congress and senators. And I know this hurts, that at the last minute, One of the big problems with this bill was there's a huge cost to it, and under the rules of the Congress, there's this pay-for issues, and there was a huge tax on banks that was put in at the last minute before it passed out of committee. That's going to basically transfer to the banks, which will actually turn around and transfer it to their customer base. So there's a lot of problems in here, and you don't know exactly where everybody's going to line up again against the bill. But there's a lot of problems with it in terms of sheer conflicts of. There are already conflicts internally with provisions of the bill, and those things have to be worked out by the regulators. We're not sure how they're going to do that, but anyway, that's the long and the short of it, and you're still in business, and thank you very much for responding to all of our calls to action. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, and you'll hear from us again.